Hello, YouTube. I'm Andrew, and I'm here in my studio in Glasgow. Um, this is the first video that I'm making as a speaking thing. I thought I'd like to share with you just my journey um, with my Orange Super Crush 100. I bought the amplifier because it's a really damn good budget amplifier, and um, I need it to do a range of things as I'm a session guitarist and tutor. So everything from clean jazzy stuff to full death metal, grindcore, whatever you want to call that, like extreme metal. So it needs to be, and everything in between that. So what I needed to find was something that was going to push that gain stage way over into high gain distortion. The built-in distortion on it is pretty good. Overdrive, it's okay, but it's got that kind of, I don't know, sort of squishy kind of feel to it, which is amazing for some things, but I need it to be tight, super tight. The other thing that I noticed a lot about the Dirty Channel is the low end tends to disappear a little bit, which is sort of worrying. So I'm going to show you my signal chain, and this is what I use. I've gone through just about everything. I'm basically running my pedal board through the send and return, the effects loop at the back of the amp. I've also tried just going straight into a pedal and then sending the pedal out into the return. So I'm using the pedals like a preamp. The best example of that was actually, I wonder where that is. The best example I had of that was actually the the Russian Big Muff fuzz pedal, and what I ended up doing was going straight in and then straight out to the return, and just I basically that's what the last settings are on, just like maxed out. Really cool though. That had an amazing sound, but maybe not necessarily for something that needs like real high levels of crispy, bite that something like, thrash metal or death metal might require. So anyway, I'm going to show you my signal chain, and then I'm going to give you some examples of what it sounds like. Yeah, I did go through quite a lot of pedals. I tried a Tube Screamer type one. I tried an SD1. I tried Wampler Tumnus Deluxe. What else did I try? I tried a bunch. I tried Ola England's Chug pedal, the Solar Chug. I tried the Behringer Super Metal that I think is based on the Boss Hyper Metal. I tried a lot of stuff. So I'll show you what I found out in a second. So I'm using a pedal train Metro 24 just on top of the amplifier, just so I can flip things in and out. I haven't actually put any Velcro on this one yet, but I'll get to that in a second. So we've got a basic Korg tuner. I don't really like this tuner very much, but my other tuner, the Boss one's on my kind of main live board. I'm still mucking about with this, so I'm not quite sure. So what happened basically was my student had one of these very cheap Coco Super Drive pedals, and I basically in the effects loop turned everything up full, turned it on. Now what I like about this is it said I love the way the EQ is, I love the thickness of the sound that the distortion actually has. Every other pedal I put through it, Tube Screamer clones or even a Boss SD1, I don't know, like it coloured it way too much. As soon as I put the pedal on, it sounded pokey and like that kind of nasally mid kind of thing. And I don't know, maybe on a different amp it would be good, but you've got to tune it into what you've got, and this is what I've got. So what I ended up doing was a bit of research and finding out that the Super Drive is a clone of a Marshall Bluesbreaker pedal, and I was quite surprised because I've tried, I think a long time ago, maybe in the early 2000s, I tried one of my guitar teacher's ones and was a bit like, this is just a bit rubbish. It doesn't do. It's not a pedal that you click on and is high gain. You know, it's a pedal that just kind of like is a boost, sort of, with a bit of gain. So I went to my local guitar in Glasgow and had a look around, and turns out that the MXR collaboration with Analog Man, the Duke of Tone, is somewhere in that Blues Breaker circuit. Now, what's good about this pedal is it's actually got a couple of, unlike the original Blues Breaker that I was complaining about earlier, this actually has overdrive and boost distortion toggle switch. And what that allows is just that little bit of crispy gain extra, but I'm not using it for an overdrive or a distortion pedal, so that doesn't bother me. I've got it set on the boost setting. The volume is maxed out because that's how I want to boost it. The tone is way more flexible than the Super Drive. Everything was maxed out on this basically for it to get anywhere. And then after that, I really had to ramp up the treble. It's a very dark sounding pedal, but surprisingly good. Surprisingly good and surprisingly quiet as well for a cheap Amazon pedal or wherever it's from. But I got this, and this has got mid-range and treble in absolute bucket loads. I think 12 o'clock was a bit dark. So I kind of put it up to, what's that, like 1, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Just has enough bite there. It just gets too bright the further up you go. So I'm happy there. And really with the drive, because it's on boost, it's just another kind of like gain stage. It's not doing a huge amount. It's not like, it's not like a Tube Screamer or an SD1. It's actually like an overdrive pedal. This is just giving it a bit of extra. And it was quite, it's quite interesting, just giving it that little bit again. I mean, it's only up to 9 o'clock there, and it was sounding really thick. Just a great sound. Just a cheap noise gate because I've got a better one on my board. I'm pretty happy with this setup, so I probably will upgrade the noise gate for that one. But like I said earlier, the drive channel, the dirty channel even on the Super Crush compared to the clean channel loses a lot of low end. Now you can see there my settings that I'm really pushing the bass a lot. It just kind of dips out. It doesn't tend to have a very solid subby sound, which is totally different from the clean channel, which has an incredibly large sort of tonal range. The frequency range is huge. Like that is one of the best solid state clean channels I think I've ever played through. It's just beautiful. It really is. But we're not here to talk about clean. We're here to talk about dirty. So what I'm going to do is, what I did end up doing was just got the old GE7 and just whacked the bass as high as I could go at 100 hertz there. 100 hertz there, plus 15 dB. Yeah, it's just one of those frequencies that it didn't have. I felt like the bass, the frequency that they have on that you're boosting is kind of more in the low mid zone. It's not got that real subby kind of feel that you want. So I ended up just using the GE7 and whacking it through this. If I feel I ever need a little bit more, I will just boost the level on this, just to give it a wee bit extra. But man, this has got everything in boatloads. Great pedal. Recommend it. Right, now enough talking and let's do some playing. Right, we're back here at the amplifier. So I am playing a BC Rich Kerry King V. It's a second-hand one that I got, so it's not stock. Someone put this kind of sticker on it, and I've changed the pickups out to be Warman Infernos. I'm also an Ernie Ball artist, so I'm using these Paradigm 1 to 52 There's the equivalent of the Burley Slinkies, but they don't say that on the Paradigm strings. It might seem strange because I'm tuned to B standard that I'm using 11 to 52s, but I find the thicker strings just a bit too, I don't know, clunky maybe to move around with. I think 11 to 52 is my limit, really. And I have tried beefies because I've been down in drop A before, but I just think, yeah, I definitely don't sludge, I chug. If you could even say that. I don't know. So, B standard. Right, let's get into it. Turn that one off. So what I'm going to play for you first is just the standard. So this is basically the Super Crush 100 dirty channel, acting as normal, no boosts or anything. Sounds good. I mean, I like the sound of it. It just doesn't feel like it's got the right sort of bite, though. A bit the same way as the kind of Boss DS1. I just have never really liked that distortion sound. It's a bit fluffy. So anyway, we're going to need to boost this thing. So I'm going to turn the gain volume and the master volume down. So let's start with the Super Drive, which is the Coco cheap one from Amazon. I think that my student's mum had bought him. But I was really surprised, so don't let the price fool you. So this is it. That's it engaged with no drive, volume all the way full, tone all the way full, drive off. Now, this is just the magic. This is the total magic here. Here goes the drive. And then you get, you just get this like, whoa, it's crunchy. And you actually just turn, I usually have the dirty channel maximum 3 p.m. here, 3 o'clock. It feels she just gets too fuzzy afterwards. But still feels like it's lacking something. So let's turn that off and let's engage the MXR Duca tone. And again, like I said, it's going into the effects loop of this amp. So that's the normal sound. So let's do the same thing. I'm not going to put the tone up that much. So that's just the boost. Sounds okay. Sounds not too bad. Let's just dial in a bit more drive. Give a little bit more distortion here. Add a little bit more tone. And that's when you're like, that's a real bright, snappy sound. But we've lost quite a lot of the low end here, so that's where the equalizer comes in, and it's pushed it quite a lot. Jeez, it's giving it a lot more beef there. I'll just turn the volume down. Nah, that's tone. Put the noise gate on, and then we've got. Scoopy mid, Scoopy scoop. I should also say that I'm recording this, so it's actually a Marshall 4x12, one of the 412G, I can't remember the code for it. I'm recording it with a vintage MD421 on the bottom right there, and one of the Thomann T-Bone ribbon mics up at the top left here. So not verb. Sounds pretty good. So there was obviously a lot of conversation about can the Super Crush. There's lots of videos I've seen that have been made about this, and it's kind of in response to those videos. It's just like, can the Super Crush do high gain stuff? By itself, no. I'd say probably not. It can do a pretty good distortion sound, but it doesn't go into that real bitey kind of sound that you expect from 5150s or Engel amps or something. You know, it's never going to really do that. But can you make it do what those do in some degree? Yes, I think you can if you boost it with the right boost. And I'm saying that the Bluesbreaker style, because obviously these are clones, the Bluesbreaker style pedals, maybe with a little extra boost to the bass, like the low end 100 hertz, yeah, be 100 hertz, seems to work pretty damn well. Especially in just tightening that up. Could max out the tone. I think it just gets a bit too like brittly sounding. It pushes against that bass frequency. It's like pretty damn good. So in conclusion, as a response to a lot of the other videos talking about does this do high gain, not by itself. It doesn't do it by itself, but you can totally boost into it, and obviously every amp has its own kind of makeup, its own kind of sound, its own kind of, you know, it's going to work with certain things. And I've discovered that Bluesbreaker style pedals, certainly whatever the super drive is and however close the Duke of Tone is to a Bluesbreaker, work really, really well. Another one I did use was just a very cheap, again, just like a £14 eBay type clean boost. All it is a volume. It's just a gain. It's just a volume. You just turn it up. But I had to use a lot more EQ when I was using this, and what I was finding was that the particular colouring of EQ that especially the Duke of Tone uses or has, just really suits what the Super Crush either can take, or it doesn't colour it too much. It gives it the right amount of mids. Whereas I was finding with Tube Screamers and SD1s, they were just like fighting against what what the actual amp itself wants to sound like. So I hope in some way that this was useful to, I don't know, learn a little bit more about my setup here, or what I felt has worked for the Super Crush. It is a really fantastic budget head, I think, a solid state head that Orange make, and I'd recommend it for a wide range of stuff. So I'll hopefully see you next time. Take it easy.